We have a fancy project in here right now. This thing has a pretty aggressive wheel fitment on it. Not as only aggressive, but it's also ginormous wheels. Like, look at the size of these tires. So something that was going on with this was the size of these tires kind of prevented the car from steering like lock to lock. He had to limit the steering, and that kind of stinks with being a race car as it is. He's trying to do autocross and track cross and stuff like that with this. Really set up for grip in mind. Something we had to do with this to try to help it steer was pull this wheel forward as far as we could. I don't know if you can see that, but that's really not centered in that hole anymore. So luckily, being a 91 MR2, it has adjustable caster, but there was not enough adjustment in there to get it to pull forward enough to be able to steer. This is kind of what you use to adjust. And basically, I pulled the nut off the back side of it and welded a big washer to the back. Double passed it with the welder, so it should be nice and strong. And that pulled the wheel forward enough that he has full range of steering, which is cool. So something else we have to do is trim the front bumper and this over fender. He's already trimmed the inside of the fender. I already kind of got this side going, but on this side you can kind of see how it started. Now there's already a little bit of trimming here. I didn't do this, but we'll try to make this match the other side. Like, look at that. When you turn the wheel, it crashes right into that. So we'll get this side matching the other side and go from there. I hope you enjoy this. I think I will. Something that I just noticed moving to the other side, you can see how this fender flare lines up with this body line on this bumper. See that? Okay, come over here. Uh-oh. On this side, it's much lower. I'm gonna have to address that. I'm gonna take care of that for him, just because I want this to look good. And he's my homie, so we'll do some of the stuff with that to make that match the other side a little better. That way the trimming is identical side to side. With my quick tape in place, you can kind of see how much lower this side is than the other side. So he already has rib nuts on this side, which kind of sucks. We're gonna have to move them. We can do that. Make it match. Yes. That looks pretty darn good. They match pretty well. It's hard to see because you can't look at both sides of the car at the same time. Yeah, but yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah. Ooh, fancy bolts. Let's do the other side. Fancy bolts. Small misalignment issues with these two. They're just too close to the original rib nuts, but we made them work. On to the next thing. You can kind of see that this thing is monster truck status. Pretty nuts. He said he lowered this side a bit. I don't think he's touched this side. Definitely not. But now that we've got clearance here, we can try to set ride height a little bit better. Lowered it as far as we felt comfortable lowering it before the wheel starts to get up into this upper fender area inside of basically that, but on the underside, wheel well. So it looks pretty okay. A lot better than it did. Wheel gaps look pretty even. All the rib nuts are in for the fender flares. Next part of this project's gonna continue tomorrow. We're going to try to do something cool for him. I said if he didn't like it, he didn't have to pay me. But if he likes it, you got to pay me double. Just kidding. For not being a metal shaper, I think that looks pretty good. I don't know if you saw in the time lapse, but I had to pedal pulse a piece of filler wire on this to try to make this look a little fatter and kind of match the rest of the metal work. I think it looks pretty good. We'll see what he thinks and see if I'm doing the other side. It's up to him, man. Since I'm working on this thing, I figured we'd do a little overview. A lot of this work was done by Bluetoon ZFI and Ian himself, the owner. Let's kind of check it out. So John from Bluetoon ZFI did the custom mil-spec harness on this. Looking super sick. He'll have to do one on my car one day. Yes. Anyway, I believe it's a GT35 turbo on this thing. And the cold tubes and hot tubes was done by me years and years ago. Could use an update. But this thing looks slick. I love the way this harness looks. Super skinny. I think he's running on a max ECU with this. It also has a custom fuel cell. It's going to be tough to see, but you can just see the top of it down there. Custom fuel cell. Stock location. It is sumped. 2 fuel pumps, I believe. Oh, and also, yeah, K24. He's given the go-ahead, so now comes the fun part of trying to match it to the other side. I'm going to make a template of this. Do my best. I painted it black so I could see it better on the car, see what I thought. Obviously, I did a bad job painting it, but here we go. Kind of left a little bit of a flange on the outside, just in case there's any inconsistencies side to side. Left it a little bit long. This is actually going to be the side you see, and I'm probably going to mess this up at least once. Bending something the wrong direction because I'm thinking I'm copying this, but I'm not. I'm making a mirror. Anyway, continuing. Okay, so first round of metal shaping. Pretty good. We have a bit of a gap here, so I need to put a little bit more, I guess, stretch in this. Yeah, that's what I'll call it, stretch. To bring this out, I'll probably hit it with a hammer. That's probably what I'll do. Through here, pretty darn good. Unfortunately, this fender's, or this rocker cover is a bit loose, so I have a little bit of play there. But we'll lock that in before I'm done. And there's a little bit of a gap here, so I need to roll this a little tighter and open up that bottom flange like that some. But overall pretty good. We're going to trim a little bit, shape a little bit, roll a little bit, and we should have this thing going pretty soon. I did the wrong thing. Still got a gap on this edge here, on this corner, right there. I should have probably rolled it a bit more instead of smashing it with a hammer around my, you can't probably see it, but it's a piece of pipe. Black pipe. So I'm gonna put it back in the slip roller and see if we can make that work. Okay, seems like slip rolling was the way to go with that. That is a pretty darn good profile. Bit of a gap there. I don't know if I can make it better. I can try. But right now, I'm pretty done with this moving around, so I'm going to lock that in somehow. Gaps are looking pretty decent. When I lock this in more, I'm probably going to have to hit this area with a hammer a bit. So that's okay. We'll add some more shape to it. This profile is pretty good. I'm going to leave it like that until I weld the piece of filler on the inside of this edge, just to kind of make it not look like a piece of tin. Okay, yes, that is way better. Follows that pretty well. Obviously he has a gap up here for the fender spacing, not sure why, but that's how he has it. Trimming is pretty good, matches the other side. Plenty of wheel clearance even when it's down at ride height. Pretty decent down there. Nice body line there. Stays pretty straight. I think it's time to clean up these edges with the sander just to true them up, and then weld my flange on there. Not flange, but my piece of filler. Let's go. Well, overall, I think these turned out pretty well considering I don't do this every day. They are quite similar. A little bit of differences side to side. This is the driver's side. I did give it another sanding because I'm going to put some better paint on it. I am quite pleased. We'll get them painted and throw them on. It looks pretty good to me. It is not perfect. Nothing I do is, but I think he'll enjoy it. Makes the car look a little bit more complete, I think. Not having a big gaping gap right there. Makes the wheels not look so stretched forward. I'm going to call that done. Thank you for following along with us. I hope you enjoyed that one. I know I did. We'll catch you next time.